Hey guys, American Knight here. I'm at home right now. I'm just chilling here on the couch. Was thinking about a few things. Uh, I've been trying to get a little more active. Um, I just seem to work all the time. Do you know that I came home today? Today, by the way, is Saturday, March 21st, 2026. I came home this afternoon and I tried to use my work badge, tried to scan my work badge at my front door of my house to get in the door. I'm like, that's a sign I've been working too much, right? Y'all like my sword there on the wall? That's my, I've showed that sword before. That's my Knights Templar sword that I bought in Spain. It's a replica of the swords used by the Knights Templar. Anyway, it's hanging on the wall over there. I but I came home and I just realized I work too much if I'm trying to scan my work badge at my front door. But I was very active today. I left early this morning. I went to we have a gym. I did go to my work, my office, because we have a gym in the office building. So I went and I worked out today, and this was the first real full body workout I've probably done in, I don't know. It was the most strenuous workout I've done in probably more than a year or more. And I looked at some YouTube videos and got some exercises to do. And I'm going to tell you what, my body is, I think it's responding to it well. I did take in a lot of protein today too, trying to take advantage of the workout. And it's sore. My legs especially. I've got the jello thing, my jello legs, like they talk about going on, and but I didn't stop there. I did a good solid workout, and then I went and I cleaned my car. I vacuumed the car out. I washed the car, and then I came home and I did some work on my patio out back. Got the weed eater out and took care of some of the weeds that's already started growing. You know, it's still early, but I have to keep that trimmed down. And I've got some more work to do out there. That patio needs some help. I need to work on it some, but I need to replace some boards on my deck out there. I have a deck off of my house up here, and there's one of the boards that needs to be replaced. At least one board that needs to be replaced. I need to work on that. Anyway, I know there's a lot of people worried about the markets right now. I will tell you that I sleep better knowing that I've got 30% or so of my portfolio in commodities. I'm not overly concerned about the stock market. The problem is, here's the thing. The government's going to have to keep printing money to pay our debt. As long as that is the fact, there's going to be more money printing, and that money is going to find its way into assets. That's real estate, stocks, commodities, etc. So the market's going to be up and down periodically. You're going to have volatility, especially with this war going on. But the trend is higher. There's almost no, there's almost no avoiding higher asset prices because the government is going to continue to have to print money. So, and I work in finance, by the way, so that's just my point of view on it. I'm not really worried about my retirement investments, and pretty much all of my investments at this point are retirement related. So I've got at least 10 years before that, if not 12 to 15. I'm hoping to retire at 62. I turned 50 this August. So I am I'm really thinking that I'm pretty comfortable with where my portfolio is. I did make some moves this week. I moved some of my money. I sold a few different stock positions that I had, and I put it into like a dividend ETF. Um, I have some positions that have done pretty well. And I have the XLE, which is the energy ETF. I have some utility company stocks. Um, so I feel pretty comfortable just in general how I have my portfolio laid out. I do have some technology. The S&P 500 is primary. The top companies in the S&P 500 are mostly technology companies. So I do have some of that, but I'm not overly exposed to technology. Some people, their whole portfolio or 50% of their portfolio is in tech stocks, and I'm not that heavy in tech. I would say maybe I may be 15-20% in tech, something like that. Um, 15-20% in tech. I've got about 30% in commodities. I do have a XLI, which is the industrial stocks. I don't know why, but I feel I want to be in companies that have some hard assets right now. Um, some of these industrial type companies I think might be a good play for the foreseeable future. So I have an industrial, and it has performed pretty well since I bought it. I think I just added more to that position last week as I began to redo my portfolio. I didn't make a whole lot of changes, but I did make a few changes. Um, my work plan, I did have the American Balanced Fund, and I still have some of that in my work plan. But I actually reduced my percentage in that because I don't feel like I don't feel a real good outlook for bonds. I don't really like bonds. I've never been a big bond person. Um, I think there's various reasons for that. I don't like owning debt. Um, I would much rather have, if I'm looking for income, I'd rather have blue chip dividend stocks or REITs, real estate investment trusts, for that income rather than bonds. So my bond portfolio, I really don't. The only bonds that I own are in that particular mutual fund, the American Balance Fund. I have a little bit in that, but I think overall, I probably have less than I probably have something like 8% of my retirement assets in bonds. And it's just all that the share of the American Balance Fund, which is about 40% fixed income. I have, when you do the math, it's probably about 8% of my portfolio is in bonds. I do have some REITs. I do have some, dividend. I have gone pretty heavy on dividend stocks, so dividend ETFs. For my dividend ETFs, I'm using VIG. It's a Vanguard dividend appreciation ETF. That's what I'm using for a big portion of that. But um, anyway, I feel good about my portfolio. I'm not panicking right now about the market just because I know the general trend, and what the general trend is, the government's going to continue to have to print money. And as long as that's the baseline case, just keep stacking anything. Now, you don't it doesn't have if you're not comfortable with stocks, then stack metal, stack gold and silver, you could even stack copper. Um, You could add real if you like real estate. You could do rental properties, or you could just do real estate investment trusts. There's all kinds of different types of real estate investment trusts. I think that medical properties are probably a good play considering the aging population. I That's one of the ones that I have a REIT that's invested in medical facilities. So that's just some just thoughts that I have about all of that. I will be going and seeing my parents tomorrow. My dad had a little accident this week. I had to leave work early one day and go and rescue him. My parents, they have an embankment out behind their house, and he was trying to dispose of some yard waste, branches and things like that. He was trying to toss them down into the woods, down that embankment, and my dad went over the edge and rolled down about a 60 to 80 foot embankment back there. He's okay. His knees were pretty scraped up, but he didn't break anything, and he's going to be 75 this year. So I've told him, just if you have anything like that to dispose of, leave it for me. When I go over there every weekend, I'm over there every Sunday. I go to their house, and so I can take care of it when I go over. But I had to get him out of where he was. It wasn't easy getting to him. That hill is, it's pretty steep getting down there, and I had a shovel that I used for a walking stick, and I was able to get down there, but there's briars and all that stuff, and was able to get him up the hill eventually. But it was there for a minute. I thought we might have to get the fire department to come help us get him out, but no, we were able to get him up the hill. But he's adventurous, and he we've warned him because his balance isn't the best, and that ground is really uneven anyway. And I've warned him about getting out there. He's fallen before, out there, and not down that steep embankment, but he's fallen out there in our yard, in their yard. Anyway, so I'm gonna go see them tomorrow morning. That's just my Sunday morning ritual, driving over to their house. They live a half hour from me, so it's really easy to go and see them on the weekends. But our weekends, I feel like weekends need to be longer. 2-day weekends are just so short; they go by so fast. Um, I feel so worn out from that workout I did this morning. I just wanted to get a quick video out this afternoon, this evening, just to because I know a lot of people are worried about the general economy. I think there are some concerns about employment. AI is really starting to take off, the use of that. Which kind of threatens a lot of white collar workers' jobs. I've talked to my daughter, because my daughter's in college right now. She's thinking about going into psychology, and I think there's a big case to be made for trades right now. It's like, we need electricians and plumbers and welders and mechanics and all of that. And not saying that we don't need mental health professionals either. We probably need a lot of those too, to be honest. But yeah. Anyway, but the world's changing. The dynamics are changing with the economy. It's just going to be interesting to see how things go over the next 10 years or so. There's concerns about Social Security. That's going to be interesting to see how our government fixes that, especially as the boomers move on and Gen X and the millennials start taking more political power, how things are going to change. I'll be kind of interested to see how things change with Gen X becoming, a bigger part of Congress and the political mechanism in Washington. I think Trump's going to be the last of the boomer generation. I think in the White House. I think the next president will be Gen X. So anyway, I'm gonna sign off and maybe get a hot shower to kind of relax my muscles a little bit from my workout today, and go to bed early. Anyway, this is the American Knight signing out.